Howdy, it's Ben. Out at Station 11, Chief Powell asked me to put out a piece on mental health. So I happily do that. I'm going to go over something that we do as a routine at Station 11. We do it both mornings, the first morning coming on and then the second morning when we get up, just around the table. It's just a way to build conversation and authentic connection with ourselves. It's a way that we can all just normalize the human condition, basically, is that we're all going to have challenges in our life every day. Some days are going to be better than others, and we're all going to have things that allow us to thrive and flourish and fulfill. So good things in our life. I just wanted to bring this slide up real quick because it really speaks to what we're trying to do. As far as if we're going to get better at suicide prevention, we have to be better about talking about the topics that lead to that. So the stressors in our life that get to it. So if we can just normalize it. This is bottom up systemic suicide prevention. Just being normal about what goes on our normal day. Now, being on the peer support team, I will tell you firsthand from talking to people who have asked for help, they've said it's one of the hardest things that they've ever had to do in the fire service. So when we can have this daily conversation on shift about what's going on with us, both the good and the stressors, then we make it more likely that people can reach out and ask for help when they need it. What you're looking at here is a descriptor of human response to accumulated chronic stress or acute stress without recovery. Now, this is mental health topic, but I'd like you to notice that some of the signs and symptoms are also physical signs and symptoms, and some of them are actually social signs and symptoms. So as far as self-isolation, that's a social sign of symptom. Physical symptoms are sleep issues, and feeling exhausted. The point being is that our health is made up of our physical health, our mental health, and our social health. All of those interact with each other. And when we can benefit one of them or increase one of them, we can increase the other two as well. All right, let's get down to the check-in. It's really simple. It's a two-step process that we use at Station 11 and that peer support recommends. First thing you want to do is place yourself on the scale amongst your crew or to your crew. Just say, I'm feeling in the yellow, for example. Second step is give some reasons why you're being pulled towards the red and pulled towards the green. So why are you yellow as opposed to orange or green or any other thing? So for example, I came in the other day, I was really feeling in the yellow. I was feeling kind of irritable, definitely tired. The reason is I hadn't gotten good enough sleep in the last few days. And then I'm just kind of feeling a sense of overwhelm with all of the stuff that's going on in my life outside of that. So those are the things that were pulling me towards the red and out of the green, so to speak. The things that were keeping me from feeling more injured or in the orange were, for example, my kids are doing really well in school and socially, and I've got a really tight friends group and some great relationships in my personal life. So those are the things that are pulling me towards the green. And that's it for the check-in. 2 steps. Where are you and what's pulling you either way? Now you can take it a step further, which I highly advise, is for yourself, and you can do this as a group or just with yourself, is you want to identify those things that are stressing you out, so to speak, adding to your stress load, and where you can actually influence them and control them, then you want to take action in that regard. So for me, I am planning on trying to take a nap during shift. I'm going to try and go to bed as early as possible so I can get as much sleep. And then on my next upcoming 4-day, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing all the things with sleep hygiene and getting to bed early so that I catch up on my rest. So as far as kind of the sense of overwhelm, I can't control some of that. Other things I can do is like make a plan and step. The point being is we can't always control a lot of the stuff that's stressing out. However, when we're in that point, what we can do is try and leverage the things that give us more of a sense of mission or spirituality, that bring us back and allow us to rest and recover. So for example, for me, I've got some projects that I'm really interested in pursuing. So I'm going to make sure that I get those on my list and I pursue those projects and engage with different people. And also, I'm going to go for a mountain bike ride. As soon as the first day of my 4-day, I'm going to get outside. I know that makes me feel better. I'm going to ride my bike. I know that makes me feel better. So I'm going to leverage these green choices. Those same two things can be done within your shift. So work out at work, eat well at work, try and sleep, those green choices. One thing I'll say that we could all do as a crew is really be conscious about where our focus is. So when we focus on negative things, we tend to see more negative things and problem solve, and that tends to put our brain in a state where we can't think as creatively. It kind of drains us of our energy. I'm not saying suppress negative emotions or ignore things that are a problem, but just keep in mind that we kind of have that perspective as a default. So what we want to do is not necessarily ignore the negative things, but look for other perspectives that might slightly be more positive. So we kind of make a game of this at Station 11, of trying to see the positive perspectives, and that's really all it is, because there's generally some positive in everything that's going on with you. All right, just to recap, the reason we're doing this is because we want to increase communication in a honest and authentic way about the human condition, what's actually going on with us. That actually is going to decrease the stress load that we feel. So that's going to have physical, emotional, and social benefits when we can decrease that felt stress. The second thing we're doing is we're forward loading conversations when we might be injured or critically injured for both ourselves and others. When we make it normal just to talk about the good and the bad in our life, when we're feeling like we're kicking ass, so to speak, and where we're really struggling, then it makes it easier for all of us to have that really difficult conversation, which is to reach out and ask for help. I can tell you, and any other experienced peer support advisor will tell you, that reaching out and asking for help is often said to be one of the most difficult things that a firefighter will do in their career. Not to get too heavy, I'm going to focus in on suicide specifically for a moment. Any of us that have had experienced that have probably experienced the feeling that I wish that person had reached out and asked for help. We got to keep in mind, when we are feeling injured or critically injured, that's when we have the least amount of resources. That's when it's hardest to take any action for our own benefit. So what we're trying to do through this normal discussion of what's going on is make that act of asking for help as normal and easy as possible for others. All right, go forth, be well. It might seem a little awkward at first, but it's really pretty chill. Where are you on the continuum? What's pulling you on either way? And then move on about your day. All right, make good green choices. Be well.